I'm gonna have to defend this movie. Hello there, I'm Scotty, and my pick for May is Pompeii. You mean for that to rhyme, but there it is. Okay, so this is a movie that back when it came out in 2014, I didn't care. I was like, okay, Pompeii, the natural disaster, the volcano, gotcha. Sure. Never wanted to go to the theater to see it. Never had any kind of inkling to ever want to see it. Then about a month or so, um, fate inter, fates intertwined. Things happened. Um, so when I get paid on Friday, I go because I've been off, but that's going to change. But usually the Fridays that I get paid, I've been off. So I'll walk to where I work and grab my check, and then I'll walk to the bank, which was a lot easier when my bank used to be right out here. And then they got rid of that one, so I had to walk all the way down that way. Whole reason I moved out here is everything was here. Walmart, Hy-Vee, stores, bank, all right here. My job, all right here within a certain walking distance. And then they fucked it up by getting rid of that one and just having everything at the other one. Anyway, my friend Brandon was having back problems around that time, and resulting in him calling in from work that day because they were, bugging him. So I figured since he was off, or since he was, you know, dealing with that, I'd stop by after I got my check to check on him and see him and everything. And he was watching the Sci-Fi Channel. I guess Drag Me to Hell was on before, and so I came in, I sat down, we were talking, and then I'm like, what is this you're watching? He goes, I don't know. It's what was on after the movie I was watching, and turned out I had to look it up. I had to use the Google Assistant thingy to figure out what it was, but it's Pompeii. And we sat there watching it, and when it was done, I was like, that was pretty good. I don't remember hearing anything about this when it came out. Nothing at all. It just came out. That was it. And when the end credits started to roll, I had not epiphany, or a moment of, oh, because I found out it was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, who I think is an underrated director and is unfairly shit on by Resident Evil fans. Now I understand that the guy who said, I want to stay with the franchise so it doesn't get messed up, still messed it up somehow, some way, by sticking with the Resident Evil franchise and changing the continuity with every fucking movie. But outside of the Resident Evil movies, I don't think he's done anything too bad. Like Mortal Kombat, the first one, not Annihilation. Look, I don't care, okay? The original Mortal Kombat from 1995 is a good movie. Or 94, whatever. It's a good movie. I don't care. It's a good movie. One of the best video game movies. An underrated horror film they also did is Event Horizon. Alien vs. Predator. I think it's still okay. I prefer Requiem. I know, shoot me. But I do prefer that. It's because it's more rated R. It's weirder. I like the weirdness of it. Pumping the eggs and the pregnant woman. That's weird. I like that. But Alien vs. Predator is not bad. It's bad it's PG-13, I'm just saying, I think he's an unfair. I think he's unfairly hated because of what he did with the Resident Evil movies. And that he keeps trying to add his wife into everything, like Monster Hunter. And yes, his Resident Evil movies were hammered down by the fact that he pushed his wife's character over everything else. And so she had to be infallible. Like, the Resident Evil characters that were supposed to be following were nothing because Alice had to be brought up. Sure. But that's not this movie. And I just, I watched a couple reviews, as I often do. I search for reviews. These are two very notable YouTube critics, Jeremy Johns and Chris Stuckman. And not as much with Jeremy, but with Chris, they basically shadow over this movie. And I just don't see it. I'm here to defend this movie because I think this movie is a hidden gem of a movie. It's one of those where you think, oh, Pompeii, probably be like a sci-fi original film. I think it's done pretty well. I I'll tell you, the Stuckman's review kind of pissed me off. I know he likes to delve into the technical aspects, but even with that, but his criticisms of how it looked, and this was 2014. By now, I'm sick of everybody complaining about CGI in movies. Let it go. CGI ain't going anywhere, but every time a movie comes out with CGI, people complain about it. Now, this is 2014, so that's when people were deep in the heart of complaining about it, when it was an okay thing. So I can give that away. But I'm just sick of hearing people's reviews and, oh, the CGI wasn't very good. So what? It's not going anywhere. It's there. Deal with it. And when it comes to CGI, I don't particularly think it was that bad. Then again, I'm not like Chris Stuckman, who looks at stuff like that. I understand he's also a filmmaker, so he's going to look at stuff like that. I understand that. So if he noticed something like that, that's him. I'm not going to notice something like that. When I watch a movie, even as someone who's reviewing a movie, I'm not watching it as a critic. And I think that's some of the problem with people that go to watch these movies, is they think with a critical mind instead of a moviegoer's mind. They go in there, they're too critical about it, and they just tear it apart. Okay? Like, they tear it apart. Look at Madam Web. And I don't mean to mention Chris Stuckman and Madam Web in the same video. I'm just saying that's the one that comes to mind. People tore that to shreds. I watched it. I thought, it's okay. People are calling it the worst Sony Marvel movie ever made. And I don't think you can call it that when Ghost Rider movies still exist. I love me Nicolas Cage, but those movies are worse. And this is from someone who likes the sequel more than the original. I just think that's too much Nicolas Cage for his own good. And those movies' plots are not the best. And I'm just saying, is it the worst Sony Spider-Man spin-off film? I don't know. Between that and Venom, let there be carnage, because I don't like what they did with Carnage. But anyway, back to this film. I just think that this movie was unfairly criticized. Yeah, I'm not looking at the technical stuff. Maybe the CGI was bad. Who knows? The fight scenes. I think the fight scenes are actually decent. And there's stuff in the Coliseum I think is done really good. What people should be criticizing, and I didn't really hear of, maybe Jeremy talked about it a little bit, but here's the thing. It's basically Titanic. That's basically what it is. It's Titanic. Paul W.S. Anderson took the framework of Titanic, that being a love story, centered around a disaster, which in this case is the Pompeii, the Mount Vesuvius eruption on Pompeii, and putting a love story around it. I do have an issue with that. They don't do enough with the love story. When I watched it with my friend, Brandon, I thought, oh, we came in the middle of it. We missed a lot of connections. No, we didn't miss shit. There's barely any interaction between Kit Harington and Emily Browning in this to justify it being a love story. It's more of a revenge story, actually, as we find out that the senator, played by Kiefer Sutherland, killed Kit Harington's family, or Milo, which is the most un-Roman name in the history of Roman things. Like, you got names like Atticus, Quintus, Saria is her name, something like that. And Milo. That's like a dog. Milo. It's like they came up with all these great names. Like, oh, what Wait, we don't have a name for the main character. Milo. I don't know. But yeah, it's about Milo wanting to get revenge on Senator Quintus Attius Corvus. That's his name. For what he did to his family, which happens. I like the camaraderie that Kit Harington has with Adwale Akinoe Agbaje's character of Atticus or Atticus. They have this. They're like rivals, and Atticus has one more fight. He's just got to kill Milo, and he can go free. And Milo says, "I'm never gonna do that." By the way, Angel did it first, and I think the guy who played the demon in there was African American too, although he's technically African British. But I'm just saying, I think that was the whole thing. And then, just like the episode of Angel, our main character, in this case Milo, ends up working with the other guy, in this case Atticus, to kind of fight the Roman soldiers or whatever. And like, much like Cal, he's obsessed with this, with Emily Browning's character, like, like Cal was with Rose. But like, they're not already engaged. He basically like tries to blackmail her, like, because like, well, Milo basically rescues her on the horse and everything. They show up, and he's like, because you asked her to marry, and she's like, I would never marry you, never. And then he's like, when she begged for Milo's life to be saved, he goes, and what is it worth to you? By the way, these Italian people sound very British for some reason, and it always happens in movies. Look at Gladiator. You're right. British accents. Now, that one I can let slide, because if you actually went with the British accent, with the Italian accent, it wouldn't be. What is more to you? It sounds like friggin' Mario. I'm a Senator Quintus Attius Corvus, and you want not to defeat me. I want to hand you in marriage. It's gonna sound off. I know Italian people don't sound like Mario. This is my best Italian accent. Kind of like this. Like the episode of Sliders. I am not Mr. Pavarotti. Mr. Pavarotti is an Italian man. He speak like this. Do I speak like this? No. Why? Because I'm an Englishman, you blithering idiot. Yeah, and they speak like they're Englishmen, even though they should be speaking like this, like he did. It's fine. You can kind of dismiss it, because that's what all these kind of movies do. These period pieces that speak British, even on Doctor Who, when they go to Pompeii. By the way, at some point during this whole Pompeii incident, the Doctor and Donna are going to show up and save a family from the disaster, and Loki and Mobius are also going to show up, so Loki can prove that nothing bad is going to happen. Nothing can change, because he lets the chickens out and everything. And yeah, at some point that's going to happen. That those two events are canon in all three universes, apparently. But yeah, so it's mainly just the rivalry between Senator Corvus, and Milo, with that little bit of a love thing thrown in. It's not as deep and emotional as Titanic, not by much. This movie's only 108 minutes, I think, where this was, 3 hours. So it's not as long. Thank God. That'd be something that would take forever to watch. But I do think it's pretty well done. Yes, there's a lot of CGI. Who cares? I don't think it's that bad. It's CGI. It's going to be. They're not going to actually do a real volcano explosion on film. And you got to look at the other side of CGI. Doing stuff with CGI also allows them to actually do multiple takes. Where if you try to do something practical, you know how hard it is to reset stuff like that. You know what I mean? think of some of the stuff that James Cameron did in the Terminator 2. You know how maybe most of that was maybe one or two, if they're lucky, shots to do that. You know, motorcycle jump, all that. Come on, some of that stuff you gotta get in one shot. CGI you can keep redoing if you really need to make sure that you did it right. I know I didn't put that in there, and that's a lot. Make it like that. You can redo it. And with actors in the CGI shots, if they mess up, you can just reset it, put it down. It still probably costs money, but still. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying here? I'm trying to defend CGI in movies because you gotta shut up about it. Let it go. Okay, let it go. Like that stupid song from the stupid Disney movies get another freaking sequel. I should have said stupid. Anyway. But yeah. It's kinda hard to buy in to the whole love interest thing when they don't do much with it. It's just that they have a couple of meetings and then at the end, when shit starts to go down, like there's moments that when I first watched it, I'm sitting there going, like I'm into this story, and then when at the end, when the stuff happens, it's like, oh yeah, that's right. That it's kind of like that way with Titanic too, where you're into this story, and then all of a sudden they hit the iceberg and right, this is Titanic, yeah. And I'm the same with this. Titanic is a little more easier to kind of get that. Oh yeah, because it's 3 hours long. This not that much, and it also does feel like you're enthralled with this story of of these slaves fighting back against this Roman senator guy and these soldiers and everything. And then it's like, okay, we have to do this now. There comes the Mount Vesuvius, and right in the middle of this whole plot where it's like, if you just sort of made it about these slaves getting out and forget about the Pompeii, it might be a little more, I'd be more invested. But we have to end it with this, And much in the vein of Titanic, you have to end it with a down ending. I do like with Atticus, I die a free man. For those about to die, we salute you. And he says, I die a free man, which is technically true. And then, yeah, they say they can escape on a horse. It won't carry both of them. Well, I think that the remake of True Grit told us otherwise. I think that horse could have made it pretty far along before. But no, they just surrender to their fate and die kissing. I called it the first time I watched it. I'm like, let me guess, they're going to die together. Right? And they do. Kissing as the volcano erupts upon them. Yeah, that's what it is. It's kind of a a generic no shit kind of end. Okay, that's how it's gonna end. It gets to the point towards the end where people just start to die. You realize no one's living. Like, Corvus kills Emily Browning's parents, and then her handmaid dies, and then they fight off the big guard guy. He dies, and then Corvus dies, and then the Atticus dies, and it's like, okay, everyone's going to die because that's the whole thing. It's like, but like, even Titanic let one of the main characters live. Two, if you count Cal. They both have to die. I think maybe if one of them survived, it'd be a little bit too like Titanic. Too much like Titanic, I think. But it's like, if she did ride away on the horse, if she's on it and he slapped the horse and it ran off and he gets swallowed up but she escapes, it would be like Titanic. They don't have the epilogue or the prologue with the people going into Pompeii and finding the statues. What's that? What guy's story? Oh, I remember. Long time ago. No, it's not like that. I do think this is pretty well done. I haven't really watched. I know about the Resident Evil movies. Haven't watched. I watched the beginning of the first Resident Evil movie with a friend of mine and his girlfriend at the time, and she got scared and we had to turn it off. Nothing really even happened yet. Nothing. It was just starting to happen. She's like, oh, this is too scary. It's too scary. Turn it off. I'm just like, we had to turn it off. If she didn't tell us to turn it off, I probably would have been into those movies sooner. As it stands, I still haven't watched them yet. I will. Don't worry about that. You know, yeah, there's some things that you can throw it off. There's such a thing as putting a movie on and just having fun with it, and I can do that with this. I think it's good enough. For you, I don't know. Something really ticked me off about when I put on those reviews, and I'm just like, really, like, and no offense to Chris Stuckman, all the respect in the world for him. I'm not one of those that shut over him because of the Madam Web stuff. No, far from it. I was really on his side with that, actually. But, like, fair criticism. Like, I think there should be fair criticism. You should talk about both good and bad movies, right? But if you don't want to, that's also fine. If you just want to have fun talking about movies, that's fine too. I like the way he's turned his channel around because honestly, when he goes to see a bad movie, it does feel like he's shitting all over it. And that sometimes you can do that. Sometimes that happens. You go see a bad movie and you don't really want to do that. You know what I mean? But here's the thing. I think that what he was saying about this is unfair. Yes, he's more technical than that. I understand that. From a technical standpoint, maybe it wasn't a good movie, but from my standpoint, I enjoyed this. And again, it could have really been a situation where I was watching it with my friend and I was enjoying it more than I was. But that's not always going to be the thing because we watched a movie called The Return with Sarah and Michelle Gellar, and that movie was terrible. We watched it together, and it was still terrible. So it's not just the idea of us watching it together and having a laugh. That doesn't add up to it. Because I watched it again. This, not The Return. The Return. Excuse me. I'm going to talk about that. I'm hoping they get a copy of that for Halloween Horror Month. But don't. I enjoy this movie. And I think that's the whole thing. Is like, if you enjoy a movie, that's great. If you don't like a movie, that's also great. It's your opinion. And I'm not trying to sully their opinions at all. I'm not trying to discredit them. Far from it. I respect their opinions. I am defending this movie. That is what I'm doing. I am not trying to shit on them or their opinions. If they don't like it, that's fine. But I am defending this movie is what I'm doing. Because I think this is actually pretty good. Yeah, what can I say? It's not a bad movie. I enjoy it. It's something I can put on in the background, I think, and have fun with it. And I can't say that because, I wouldn't say that about every historical kind of film. I'm not one of those that likes those historical, kind of movies. But this is fun for me to watch. And it also stems from the fact that I don't hate Paul W.S. Anderson. And a lot of people, I'm not saying they do, but they did make comments in their videos, and that's fine. Make comments at your video. But I've never hated any of his movies. Now, like I said, I haven't watched Resident Evil movies yet, so that might change when I go through them. But I enjoyed this movie, and I like it. Which is why it's pretty good to me. So, yeah. So, what are your thoughts on Pompeii? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And that's the thing. When I say let me know your comments below, I want to know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. That's why I say I want to know what you feel about a movie. If you don't like it, let me know. If you like it, let me know. If you love it, if you hate it, let me know. I want to have like to have some discussions in the comments about why you didn't like the movie or why you like a movie, that sort of thing. I'm just saying. So thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.